Hey guys, it's Kat and I'm back today to play with makeup. Now this is not a palette review, this is me sort of testing a style of makeup. It's kind of weird. All right, so last week I went to an event. So it was held by Mecca, which is now a stockist for Morphe in Australia. And they got Lipsticknick down, who is, I think, the global makeup artist for Morphe. She was really lovely, by the way, but she did sort of like a masterclass demonstration using some Morphe products. So we did get a bag and we got 2 palettes in it. We've also got a setting spray, which I'm going to donate because I have one and don't love it. And also a sponge. We've got 4 Morphe brushes, looks like a bit of a highlighter brush, just a standard brush, a fluffy brush, and sort of like a packing brush. So the M617, the M330, M510, and M443. And like I said, 2 palettes. The first one was the Such a Gem palette. So this is the box, and it's a purple palette. I'll open it in a second. And then the second one was the James Charles palette. Now I did a poll on Instagram asking if you guys wanted to see a look which palette you want me to use, and I was surprised that the overwhelming majority said the Such a Gem palette. So that's what I'm going to be using today. This is interesting actually. This is the new packaging. So this is very, very sleek cardboard. They had the plastic packaging for the longest time, and I've got like 2 variations of the plastic packaging. So they've now moved to like cardboard packaging. So we've got the slip with the names on it and also the shades here, so we can see that. Now what I wanted to do today with this is actually sort of follow sort of the tips that Lipsticknick gave. So what she pretty much said was that Morphe eyeshadows are different from, well, they're probably not different from a lot of eyeshadows out there now, but they're different from like the standard eyeshadow formula that makeup artists usually use and people have been using for decades. She said it's more of like a pressed pigment, which means that they have to be applied, or to get the sort of Instagram effect, you're supposed to apply them differently. And I had never heard that before. I just used Morphe eyeshadows like normal eyeshadows. So when I saw that her technique was to sort of pat it on and start darkest and sort of go to lightest, I was like, this is not something I'm used to doing. So I thought I'd give it a crack, and I'm going to do, for the first time in my whole entire life, a cut crease, or attempt one. For me, Instagram makeup with cut creases, I can look at them and go, oh, that's very artistic. But on me, I don't like really, really, really bold eyes, like really sharp and extremely bold eyes. I just don't think it really suits me. I'm getting too old. It's not really my thing. So I've never really attempted it, but I'm going to attempt it today with this to sort of see if I'm following the sort of global makeup artist directions vaguely. Do I get a better result from these eyeshadows? Now, she did a really bold look on the model where it was a very, very dark purple, and then the cut crease was like a shimmery light purple. So I think what she used was like these kind of colors down here. And then she used a really light color. I don't know if it was that one, but it sort of looked like that one sort of on the lid on the inner corner. So it went from like kind of a silvery purple to like a blackened purple. I'm not going to do that because that is way too bold for me. So I'm probably going to stick to more of this area, I think. I think that's more my kind of jam. But, and also I'm actually leaving the house today, so I don't want to look like a clown, but I'm going to give it a crack. I don't want to completely ignore the purples though. So what I might do is do sort of like the brown in the crease and then like a lighter purple on the lid. I don't really know. This is all new to me. I'm probably going to stuff it up. Before I do go on, I'm going to mention I've got my new mirror, my fancy Sleeping Beauty mirror from Besame. I'm so excited. It's very heavy. I've wanted one of these kind of things for ages, ever since I had the Snow White one that didn't ship to Australia. Also on my lips and my nails, I've got matching lipstick and nail polish, which I think is great. So Kester Black, I don't know if you can see the Kester Black on that box. They've just launched liquid lipsticks. This one is in the shade Never Nude, and you can also buy them in a set with a matching nail polish, which is what this is. So the nail polish is Never Nude. I wore this in a couple of videos last week, I think it was, and people have been asking. So the only way you can get this nail polish is in the set with the liquid lipstick, and there's 6 different shades that match perfectly, which I think is really cool. Normally I'm not a matchy person, but when it matches exactly, I'm like, that's kind of cool, and I dig that. So that's that. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do that is out of my comfort zone, I'm rolling up my sleeves, is actually using concealer as my eyeshadow base. I always like to use a primer. I think primers personally work really well on my eyes. I think it comes down to body chemistry. I think Morphe sort of probably suggest concealers because they sell concealers, but also because I think if you want that really bold look, that really blanked out eye, you need a concealer compared to a primer. I sort of like the translucent primers so I can sort of see the skin through because I just prefer that look. But I'm going in with a concealer, and this is the Pony Effects concealer. It's the Pro Fit Liquid Concealer. This is a really thin but high coverage concealer. I really like it, but sometimes it messes with my foundation, so it doesn't blend well with my foundation. So I don't use it as much as I would like, but it's a really nice, thin but high coverage. It's like Shape Tape, but taken to a new level where it's lighter weight, but probably even more coverage. Like I said, I would use it more if it actually worked with all foundations. And I'm going to use an Eco Tools brush. This is just like, I think it's a concealer brush. I'm just going to use that to blend it. Now, I don't usually use concealer on my eyes for two reasons. One, I really don't like this really blanked out lid, but also, and I probably should put more up into the crease, but I don't want to. But also I just find that on me, eyeshadow primers, the shadow sticks better and lasts longer. I've tried to sort of pan a concealer by using it as like an eyeshadow primer, and I just found that my eyeshadows never stuck to it. So each to their own. But I feel like the Morphe people and the Morphe affiliates all push concealers. So it must be the way that Morphe sort of, I don't know, sell their products or promote their products or give instructions on how best to use their products, because I find that that's something that they often do. But it's something that I don't really get. All right, jacket's coming off. Shit is getting serious. Let's zoom in a bit so we can see what I'm doing. All right, so I'm supposed to use the darker shade first and just really put that in the crease, sort of like in the crease and create a V shape. And then I sort of pat lighter gradiating shades outwards. Now I'm just noticing there's not too many dark browns that aren't shimmers. So these down here are shimmers. So I might actually go for this reddy color here, which I believe is the shade That's Tempting. All right, so these are quite powdery. I've just picked up quite a lot just by touching it. This sort of feels a little bit subculture-y, so very pigmented. And I don't know if you can see, but that is like, I picked up a lot. So you have to be quite gentle with these. Lipsticknick was like, just tap off the excess, which, you know, is a good way to get rid of excess and not have fallout. When I film these, I film on my black and white rug, so I'm going to tap them off into the Morphe bag so I don't get color all over my rug. All right, so into the crease. They are quite pigmented, but you're not supposed to sweep. That's sort of what I've been told. You just do little dabby motions and you sort of push it onto the primer. Just picked up a little bit more. I'm not used to having these really bold colors in the crease. It's sort of intimidating to me, but it is what it is. And then I'm just going to sort of fill in the outer corner a little bit. So I've just picked up a bit more. I'm just picking up a little bit at a time because I really don't want to overdo it. It's just easier to go back and pick up more. But I'm just filling in that outer corner. A lot of it I think will be covered by the cut crease, but I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing, guys. I don't know what I'm doing. So tap, 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 tap. These are very pigmented, but the sort of texture of them and sort of how they pick up remind me a lot of the pressed pigment formula of Anastasia Beverly Hills Subculture. I don't know if it's just this particular shade. So it is very pigmented, but you've got to be careful how much you pick up. Oh, and this is one of the Morphe brushes. It's the M443. So I thought this is a sort of good one because it is sort of flat, but also fluffy. I sort of like this shape. And I'm just using my color switch to remove some so I don't have to use so many brushes. The problem with going dark to light is you can't just use the same brush. If you go light to dark, you can totally build the color and use the same brush. You can't do that dark to light. So I'm just sort of wiping it off in between. Okay, I'm going to show the next two colors. So then I'm going to go with this brown and that one there. So the medium brown is Decadent AF and the other one is Super Swanky. Once again, very, very pigmented. Gotta tap a lot off, otherwise it's gonna fall down my face. Gets my fancy mirror And you just pretty much do on the outer sort of border of where you last did it and just sort of build it up slightly. I don't want the transition to be, like I don't want there to be big chunks of color in between because it's just going to go up to my eyebrow and that's a little bit much for me. So let's just put a little bit. So this is adding a bit of warmth, which is nice to that sort of what ended up being quite a wine color. Okay, I don't really know what to do with this area. I feel like I'm just leaving it hanging, but that's fine. I think when I connect the bottom line, I can sort of sort it out. This looks really intense. This is not my style. It's a thing. So all of these have that really powdery finish. This is super swanky, which will probably be the last color I'm going to put up here. You can see that this one sort of blends it more into the skin, so it has that sort of easier fade, and I'm not doing any swiping motions like a traditional blend. I'm just doing little patting motions with the gradiating color going outwards. These colors do stick quite nicely to the concealer, and I feel like because the concealer is so blanked out, oh my god, this look is way too big for me normally. Oh my god, I'm getting a coffee after this with Simon. He's going to be like, what have you done to your face? I'm going to be like, don't ask. So yeah, I think next time I'll probably start a lot lower and keep it tighter. What was I saying? Yeah, so this sort of sticks pretty well to the concealer. I think it's because it's quite blanked out. You get the color that just sticks on. And I didn't set anything. I didn't blend anything. So the color really does pack on. All right, now with more of a fluffy brush, I'm going to get more of a cream color shade. There are no cream color shades in here that are matte. So I'm going to have to go with the shimmery one, which I don't love the idea of, but it is what it is. This is a shade Pearl Flexion, so I'm just going to tap some of that off. And so what I'm pretty much doing and what I would do if this was more of a matte. So you sort of blend the outer brown into the skin. It would work better with a matte, but here we are. So this is the only sort of blending tip that all the time you blend that I saw, but yeah, I'm gone. This is not me. This is very strange. All right, I already can tell that my blend isn't the best. This one looks a lot more staggered than this one does here. I also have a lot more of the warm brown on this side than I do this side, so I'm not very even. I've just picked up a tiny bit of that Decadent AF on this brush just to add a little bit more warmth to even it out in a more traditional blendy way, which is my preferred method, but I just want to even it out a bit. That's a bit better. You want to go on the balcony? Okay. All right, so it's still not great. It looks a lot better in person, I believe, than it does on camera, but I don't know. It looks insane at this point. But what I'm going to do now, so this fluffy brush, by the way, was the M330, not affiliated, and this one's the M167. So this is more of your flat brush. I'm going to go in and put some concealer on my eyes to do the cut crease. So the tip that Lipsticknick gave was that if you can't draw a good cut crease, to just do the sort of tap, tap, tap motion. So tap your little like semicircle shape. Tap, tap, tap. I do this with eyeliner as well. Instead of doing one line, I sort of just do little lines and connect them. I just find it a much easier way. So I'm going about here, I think. So 3/4 in with the concealer and just going to fill that in a bit. I actually thought I'd fuck this up a lot more than I currently am. Like, I'm not thinking this is a look that suits me, but it's actually not as like intimidating to do as it sort of looks. So I believe Lipsticknick actually set her concealer after she did it, which is probably good because mine looks like it's migrating, which it is. Stop migrating, stay where you should be. All right, I'm just fixing mine up because mine was migrating a bit. I do have hooded eyes, so this is another reason why this technique has always been a bit funny for me, because I'd never thought it sort of worked really well on hooded eyes. So Lipsticknick did set hers. I think she set it with a light shimmery color. I don't know. I'm just going to go in with that one that I had on sort of the brow bone a little bit, just to sort of set that down so it's not migrating as much. All right, one thing that I always found strange about cut creases is what to do at this stage. Like, what do you do here? And what Lipsticknick said, I've got some fallout, but I'll brush that away later. What Lipsticknick said to do is find a shade that's sort of like blends the outer portion to the lid color. So she suggested like a dark shimmery shade because she was blending like really dark purples to more of a lighter purple. So she picked a sort of dark shimmery purple. So I'm gonna look for a dark shimmery brown. So I'm actually thinking of going this more red shimmery shade because there are some dark shimmery browns, but they're darker than the color that I've put in my crease. So I don't really want to use those. So that's probably the closest. And this is the shade You Fancy, and I'm just applying it with the same color that I used in the crease, and I'm just going to tap that on. I don't think that's dark enough because as you can see, I've got that distinct line. So I'm going to go in with, I'm going in with a little bit of Garnet Glam, which is one of the dark browns in the corner, just to sort of blend that a little bit. My God, this is the weird part. So I've got both the colors now on this brush and I'm just sort of mixing them together for this eye. This is not working well. This is a video of what not to do, but oh well. All right, I'm just using that M510 to just flick away some of that fallout, not too much, which is nice. And for the rest of the lid, I actually want to use a purple, but I'm thinking I might actually go this big purple here. I was looking at this color, which is gorgeous, but I do want to use some purple, so I'm going to go this purple. And then I might use something like this in the inner corner. All right, this is a very wet shade. It applies like, it picks up almost like a cream. So I'm just going to tap that on the eye. And the shade of this one's called Total Goals. It's a really pretty iridescent purple shade. I do have to say though that once you put your brush in the pan, it sort of messes up the pan. It doesn't look as cool as what it looked like before you messed it up. But this is, yeah, it's a pretty color. I just don't really get... I feel like I can achieve this without the cut crease, if you know what I mean. Like if I put this all over the lid and then just worked into the crease the dark colors, I think I'd get a very similar effect with a little less fuck around. So it's my first impression of this technique. I don't like it. I like the colors together. I think they're nice. I think this amount of darkness, I sort of want to rub it off. I really don't like it. I feel really uncomfortable wearing it. And I feel like, once again, I can probably achieve this very easily using a nice base, putting this color all over the lid, and then just working the depth into the crease. I don't know. I know I'm not doing this perfectly and I'm not getting that really sharp cut crease look, but I just don't really, for me, I don't really get the point of this. Nevertheless, we're moving on. I've just wiped off this M167 brush, which I was using to pack the stuff on the lid, and I've just picked up a tiny bit of that first shade that I laid down. So what I'm doing is I'm running this on the lower lash line, that sort of wine color, so sort of really close, and meeting it in the outer corner. Then I'm picking up some of that medium brown that I used second, just to run that under very, very slightly, just mimicking what we did to begin. I'm using that slightly fluffier brush that looks dirty, but I've wiped it off many times, and I'm going with that lighter brown color. I'm not going to use that light shimmery shade to blend it out like I did the top. I'm just using this light brown to blend out the bottom. It sort of looks like I've just used one color because I don't think I was sort of precise enough, but it does match the sort of these parts here. I just don't like where, the concealer has made it really, really bold. I know that sounds really weird, but like I know that the cut crease, it's supposed to make it look really bold, but I can see like a line and it just looks, to me, it just looks unblended. I don't like this look. All right, I'm getting a smaller brush and I'm just getting that shade there, and I'm going to put that on the inner corner. These are very like moussey, wet shades. It's really bizarre. So I'm just popping that in the inner corner there, which is a really nice sort of sparkly champagne color. In there we go. That's a pretty color. That's a nice twinkly, a beautiful color. I should have put that all over the lid, but it is what it is. All right, so this is the eyeshadow before I put the liner on. I have to say I really like the color combination, but I think the sort of technique isn't really my cup of tea. It just looks really patchy along here. It looks sort of, unblended, and I sort of like more of a grungy, smoky look than I like a precise look. So I'm not good with precise looks, but I really like the color combination. The light purple with the smoky sort of browns, or the warm smoky browns, I really dig. I'm going to put some eyeliner on. This is a Stila eyeliner in the shade Vivd Smoky Quartz. So this is going in my waterline. I'm now using the Benefit Roller Liner eyeliner. This is in the black, just to chuck some wing liner on. The cat's gonna jump up. There we go. Good old Boogie. This is the kind of look that would benefit from lashes, because there is such a bold look that for your lashes to stand out, you sort of need more lashes to sort of balance it, but I can't be bothered, and I'm using this MAC False Lashes mascara. So this is actually not a very bold mascara, but you know, it's what I've got open right now. All right, so this is the overall look, and I think it's a nice look. And one thing I think I've taken from this is I quite like that shape of that rounded crease, because it actually makes my eyes look very, very round and quite large. So I do like that look. I just don't think I needed the cut crease, if that makes sense. I feel like the cut crease is where I went wrong here. Firstly, I've got hooded eyes, so if I relax my eyes like this, it, you know, transfers. And also I found that sort of where I cut the crease, of course I went a little bit crazy later and I tried to rub some of the eyeshadow away, but it now looks really patchy where that sort of concealer or that cut crease has happened. So clearly cut creases aren't really for me, because that really sharp line, I don't really like that look. Also, I've got the hooded eyes sort of issue, but I do think the shape is very nice. I think the color combination is really nice. I do think that this does demonstrate that Morphe eyeshadows can be very pigmented, but the technique of them is to lay them onto sort of a wet base and build them up. So now that I know that, if I want maximum payoff from Morphe, I can do that. But I do think I can easily achieve this just with normal technique. So putting the purple down on the eyeshadow primer and then building the crease up, I think I can definitely get a very similar look, probably with a lot less effort, if that makes sense. But this ended up being fine, so I'm not going to complain. And yeah, I think what I've taken away from this is I like this color combination, which is great. There's going to be people in the comments that are like, you did it wrong, you're making it look like shit, you're not supposed to do this, and that's totally fine. This is officially the first time I've attempted a cut crease, and I have personally avoided it because I don't like the look of it. So you know, it's one of those things that for me, I gave it a shot. I tried to make it work for my aesthetic, and if that meant me sort of blending some of the crazy crease out with my finger, it is what it is. I just prefer, yeah, a bit of a smokier look, a little bit of a grungier look, but I do like this color combination. I think it's very pretty. All right, so that was a bit of fun. It is quite rare these days for me to come across a technique that is something completely different to what I've done in the past, so that was fun to do, and I really did enjoy watching Lipsticknick do a masterclass, because she's got some mad skills and she's very good at explaining things as well. I just think that, you know, the makeup that she does, I don't think it really works on me personally, but if it works on you, I highly recommend checking her out, because her looks are really, really good and she knows her shit. So there we go. So that's about it. I gave it a crack. It's an average outcome, but it is what it is. It matches my t-shirt. There's that. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.